Hello, welcome once again to the Drivers of Change show. Here we influence change and together our world changes. My name is Emmanuel Chum Entry and this show is powered by Trio Media. The year of our Lord 2020 has been a great year, but then we are all affected by coronavirus in one way or the other. Almost everyone has been affected, whether positively or negatively. It depends on the individual. Although the pandemic has made it very difficult for all students, there's a particular group of students which is facing the pandemic in a way that is uncertain for them. And today I have with me here in the studio two great guests from the greatest universities in Kenya, one from University of Nairobi and Kenyatta University. We are here to deliberate about the future of international students, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy. So I'm going to allow my guests to introduce themselves. I'll start from my immediate left. Can you please tell us your name?
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Nyajankwan, third year student at the University of Nairobi, studying economics and statistics, and also an international student from South Sudan. Wow. Thank you for having me.
Welcome. Yes.
Thank you. This is John Zagabe. I'm a third year student at Kenyatta University, international student leader, and doing civil engineering from DRC Congo.
Okay, so this is the Drivers of Change show. You are welcome. If I may ask, Elizabeth, what brought you to Kenya?
Education. I'm here for school, and I've been here for quite some times.
Which year did you come to Kenya?
I've been in Kenya for 7 years.
7 good years?
Yes.
Wow. So you mean you attended high school in Kenya?
Yes.
And then from there to the University of Nairobi?
Nairobi, yes.
Oh, okay. What about John?
I go to Kenya in the year 2016. That is 4 years now. I've been here in Kenya, and I'm here specifically for academics.
Okay, so Elizabeth, what is different from your country compared to Kenya?
A lot is different, starting with weather. The country I come from is quite hot, and the weather here is favorably, well, I don't know how to describe it, but it's cold to me.
So to you, Kenya is an air-conditioned environment to you, right?
Yes, yes.
Oh, then you are privileged.
Yes.
Okay.
And also, culture is different. Food is different. Yes, those are the different things.
What are some of the food you have in South Sudan?
I don't know if you would know if I mention them, but we have...
I think you should mention them. Maybe people from South Sudan are watching and they want to be like, yeah, you've mentioned my favorite food. So you can mention some of the food.
A cob, which is also called cob. It's depend with, the ethnicity.
Cob?
Yes, it's called cob.
What is it made of?
I think I'll show you. I'll show you a picture of it. Yes,
okay.
But there's a cob and there's kisra, or the other name is yor.
I think I've eaten kisra.
Thank you. Yes, kisra is a very delicious.
How is it, John?
It's so delicious.
Oh, okay.
I've tried it was during our International Student Cultural Day, whereby different countries were exposing their basic food. So I tasted kisra.
Oh, okay. Then you are privileged.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. So, John, what is different in Kenya compared to DRC?
In Kenya, I can say in terms of the food aspect, because I like food, I can say we have sukuma wiki, we have food like mokimo, food like omena. I had seen another food that impressed me, which was kuku bahati.
Kuku bahati?
Yes, it's a delicious meal here in Kenya, and I was very privileged to taste. But back home, we have food like sombe, which is cassava. Cassava, it is made of cassava leaves.
Oh, okay.
It's a special...
The green leaves?
The green leaves. So it is a wonderful meal in
Okay,
Congo.
all right. So, Elizabeth, what do you like about Kenya so far?
My favorite part of Kenya is the people. They are very, very friendly. I also like the wildlife. Has the best wildlife. I've been to Nairobi National Park. It's just amazing. I have been to the Rift Valley.
Okay.
It's so beautiful. And yes, also the food. The food that I actually got exposed to here. Some of them are very delicious.
Okay, that's
Like
great.
chapati.
So, John, what was new in Kenya? Like, what do you like about everything in Kenya so far?
First of all, I love Kenya. Kenya is a country I love. I feel comfortable because of the way the country itself appears. Some of the things I like infrastructures, they are quality infrastructures like the roads, they are good roads, highways, like buildings, they have architectural design better,
Okay.
and I like that aspect, especially with my area, which I'm doing civil engineering.
Oh, okay. That's great. We can all attest to it that Kenya is a good country. So, Elizabeth, tell me, you came all the way from South Sudan and today you are student representative of international student of the great university, Nairobi University. How is the feeling?
It feels so good. I'm privileged and I feel honored because I'm a person that likes using my voice for the right purposes to serve humanity and the society I'm in. So I feel honored to be an international representative at the Great University of Nairobi.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mr. John, tell me, how is the feeling? Kenyatta University.
It is a better feeling being the representative for the international student. That is something I will never regret. I will never regret being that position, and I enjoy that position because it has been part of my passion. And as I'm serving the student, I feel like it is a passion which I'm not earning any benefit, but I just feel like I can do it freely.
Okay, so that's great. So, Elizabeth, how many international students approximately do we have in Nairobi University?
University of Nairobi has approximately 1,200 to 1,500 international students.
1,200 to 1,500 international students.
Yes.
Wow, that's great. What do you think makes students come to University of Nairobi or Kenya to study like that? 1,500 is a lot.
Yes, University of Nairobi is one of the leading universities, so you will not be surprised for it to be hosting a huge number of international students.
So these international students, how many nationalities?
We have over 42 nationalities from within Africa and outside. This people include people from China, UK. We have international students from within Africa. We have South Sudanese like me. We have Cameroonian, Somalis, who are the majorities. We have Ghanaian, Nigerians. Yes.
Congolese.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
Okay, that's great. John, what about you? How many international students are in Kenyatta University?
Right now, we can say approximately 600, over 600 international students. We have around 48 nationalities.
48 nationalities?
Yes.
Wow.
Those are
From
coming from all over the world. So we have in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, and some have come for exchange program from America.
Okay.
So it's a great number. It's a huge number.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So international students, and I think it's amazing, right? And I don't know, do you have any idea what brings them to Kenya? Because I'm sure some countries doesn't have this amount number of international students. What is different about Kenya?
Personally, I think the reason why I came to Kenya is because where I was born and raised in a small town in DRC Congo, eastern part called Bukavu. And the town, unfortunately, could not offer a university where I could do the course I'm doing. So I chose to come here because of even the ranking of universities. The Kenyatta University is like 16 in Africa, which is something that motivated me. And I think it is a reason that motivated other students because of the good quality of the education.
Okay, that is quite reasonable. And what about University of Nairobi?
Generally, Kenya is one of affordable country to study in.
Okay.
Because you cannot compare maybe Kenya with UK. It's a bit maybe expensive there. So one of the reasons why I chose Kenya to come and study is that it's favorable. It is a very peaceful country also, so it's really comfortable and good for a student. Yes, and also the weather is fairly good, and yes, that is why.
Let me ask this. Apart from studies as international student representatives, what other activities do you engage these people in that they like coming to Kenya? Because I'm sure like they'll be bored with studies only. What are some of the side benefits they get as international students? Any one of you can answer.
Okay. Various universities try to engage international students. University of Nairobi is actually one of the most engaging university. So we have activities, and that is why we are in leadership, so that we can guide students, through all this. So we have trips. For instance, have been to a trip in Rift Valley, organized by the university. So there are trips, there are activities like sports and many other activities. Thank you.
Okay, so John, what about Kenyatta University?
At Kenyatta, we have so much activities for international students. We have, for instance, like International Student Culture and Award Day, like the one we had last time. We have this International Student Sports Day, whereby students have to go and they play different games, even Kenyan games. And apart from that, there are conferences we organize sometime. And what is new and very important is about the international student, the Mombasa trip that we normally have every year. So every new student, newly admitted student at Kenyatta University, they receive the privilege. In fact, I take this opportunity to thank our able Vice Chancellor for offering that trip to the newly student, where they go to Mombasa for 3 days and get to discover what is happening there. Yet this year it's never happened because of the pandemic and the strike that happened last time. I think you are aware, but I'm sure when normalcy comes next year, it is going to happen as usual and tradition.
Okay, that is so great. Now, let's come to the main issue. We are here to discuss the future of international students. Since which month did you break for because of the coronavirus pandemic? Which month did your school close? UoN?
March.
In March. And what about Kenyatta University?
It was in mid-March.
Mid-March. So from mid-March, because of the pandemic, schools were closed. How was the feeling for international students? John, you can.
So immediately when they announced the cases in Kenya, the Congress was not around on campus. We were in Mombasa for a retreat.
Okay.
I remember it was a Sunday. So the following day, they had to close the university because of the pandemic, and we had to come immediately because of that decision of the university. So our the student who remained in the university, the ones who stay on campus, they were not able to travel immediately, and the university offered accommodation to them, and food was catered for, and we were accommodated on campus at that right time.
Okay. That was the beginning of the pandemic.
That was at the beginning.
How was it in Nairobi University?
Almost the same case as that of Kenyatta University, but then there was a lot of tension.
Okay.
So students were really scared. Well, I would say nationwide, everybody was scared of the disease,
sure.
but students were not of exception. So there's just a lot of confusion, and this is something that just came all of a sudden. Nobody was prepared for it. So most of the international students were just stuck here. So the university had to come in, and they were accommodated.
Okay. So let's start from, we want to address some of the issues that coronavirus brought to international students. Let's start with traveling. Now, what's the condition traveling among international students?
Traveling has been a very big challenge, not just for the international student in Kenyatta, but I guess maybe in Nairobi or any other university across the world. But some countries did well with their embassies. I can say like the Ugandan embassy, they organized and arranged for a repatriation flight, and Ugandans were repatriated to their countries. Countries like Ghana, they did the same. Countries like Nigeria did the same. Botswana did the same. And unfortunately, some countries were not very sensitive on the repatriation side and didn't prepare very well. But at the end of the day, the traveling was done, but with so much difficulties.
Okay. What about Nairobi University?
First of all, it became really expensive to travel, especially for students, because flights doubled, even for the buses. Well, of course, there was the restriction. It was really hard. Some countries literally decided not to receive even their citizens also. So the students were part of it, so they had to stay. But for the few that traveled, it was very, very tiresome, having to carry your luggage around, going back home. This is something that came all of a sudden. Nobody was prepared for it. So it was a big challenge for students.
Okay.
Yes.
So I can imagine the situation whereby somebody travel 1,000 miles overseas to come to Kenya or any other country to study for academic purpose. Then all of a sudden there's this pandemic. Maybe when this fellow was coming, the parents planned like, this semester, this is the amount you are going to get. This is for your return. You are returning this day. This pocket money is for this day. And then all of a sudden there was this pandemic, and along the way there was a lockdown. So the people who were not able to be repatriated to their home country, what was the challenge? John, I think you can help us. What was the situation in Kenyatta University after the lockdown? Students who were not able to be repatriated, what were they going through?
The challenges were too many. There were too many challenges, especially for those who are not, because also being repatriated at that time, you needed to have a certain amount of money that will allow you to travel and to be able to reach safely. But those who were not able to travel back, yet up to August, they were still being accommodated until the university had a new plan to fumigate like the hostels, and the student had to leave the university and to go and look for accommodation outside, which was too much pain. It was somehow painful.
I can imagine
to get the accommodation for them.
I can imagine because, like, as I was saying, maybe I was coming to school, I was given this amount of money. My parents know that I will vacate on this day or I'll come back on this day. So they are planning to even send my money maybe around that time. Then going off campus to look for accommodation and all that, I'm sure students were stranded. How was it in Nairobi University?
Like I said, the university came in, especially for the international students. Of course, the regular students, Kenyans, went home because all those universities were closed. But we were accommodated for the students that were not able to travel outside. But for a period of time, we had no classes. You know how it can be. You are in a whole big university, nobody is around, especially your fellow students. You're not learning. It was really depressing. There's a disease around. You're worried about your family back home. You're worried about your health. So it was a bit depressing, but the university was there to help.
So were there any situation where students were stranded? Like John, like your case where students were asked to look for accommodation for the meantime because the university is following the Ministry of Health protocols. Were students stranded? Was there any case like that?
I think the ones that were stranded, I did not heard of a case whereby someone could not get actual accommodation, and individual cases we were consulting with the management and see how we'll bring a solution, because that decision came after the Ministry of Health and Education remove a communique that the university will resume in January. So we were in August. We could not realize spending again 4 months up to January without traveling. So that situation, and countries had already opened up their flight. So some traveled that time, and other were got accommodation beside the university.
Okay. So we are looking at the future of international students now. Now, we can all attest to the fact that traveling has become very, very expensive, because I know as international student leaders, you have people who just traveled recently and all that. Can you share with us some of the experience? What are the process they go through? Elizabeth, I think you can help us.
The first one, of course, not just the students. For you to leave the country, you have to get a COVID-19 test. So that is one of the challenges. Like I said, traveling became so expensive,
And it is too expensive, right?
It is still expensive, and some of the reasons why it is because you have to go through, the process of testing. And like I also said, carrying luggage around, it's really tiresome, and it's a challenge.
With the testing, do you have any idea of how much it cost?
Personally, I did not travel, but of course, I interacted with students that did. One of my friends traveled to Cameroon, and COVID test was about 6,000 for him.
Okay.
But he spent over $800 to get home, and this was normally it will be just like half of that amount to just get home.
Okay.
Yes.
So now the situation we are in is, when you want to travel to your home country or from your home country back to school, you need to do a COVID-19 test.
Yes.
In your home, like in your country where you are living. Then ticket to, the prices are up. Then what next? The next thing is, when you get to that country too, you need to be tested again for COVID before you can enter the country. I've heard cases like in Ghana, when you want to travel from Kenya to Ghana, you first have to do the COVID-19 test, which is around $60, right? Then, or some are even $80 to $100. Then from there, when you move from here to Ghana, when you get to Ghana, you have to pay $150 for COVID test. You get it? So you looking at all this cost, because previously it was not like that. You have 1,200 plus students in Nairobi University. And I'm sure some of the things that influenced them to come was the cost of flight and, accommodation and all that. Now that things have shoot all of a sudden, what do you think is going to happen next, John?
Uh, Actually, now as things have again going back to normal, and students have started learning. Like recently, we finished the phase 2 exams at the university, and we are waiting for a new resumption in January. Those who are able to travel, of course, it was much expensive, and those who went to look for outside accommodation, it was still much expensive, and it was painful. I do understand the situation, how hard it was, but we shall overcome, as I always say.
Okay, so with the current situation, you made mention of resumption in January. How is it going to be? Are students coming back to bear all this cost and all that, or is it going to be virtual mode of learning?
Yes, there are two sets of learning. So both the blended learning, online learning, and the physical
face-to-face.
face-to-face.
Okay.
So the university have set down a plan whereby we have two phases. First years and fourth years, they start. Once they finish, the second and third years, they come to continue with the face-to-face learning. And exams will come at the end of the semester.
Okay, so Elizabeth, how do you think this virtual mode of learning is going to be effective?
Well, at the University of Nairobi, we had actually started way before. It was few months after the pandemic that the university made a decision for us as students to learn online. So it has been there. I've actually just recently did my examination, and it's a bit challenge for maybe students from remote areas who has issues to do with the internet. But concerning the resumption, physical resumption, there's no much communication from the university because our online learning is very effective.
Yeah, I think we are getting to an era where everything is going to be virtual. So let's focus on this virtual mode of learning. Like you are saying, people from the rural areas have been affected. Let's say in terms of electricity, in terms of what else, the gadgets to use, the laptops, internet, access to internet. How are they going to cope? And it's not only in Kenya, but wherever they are in their home country, if they are not coming back, not everyone is privileged in living in the city. So what is the plan? What's the way forward for such students?
Mm, there was some arrangement that was made between the university and Safaricom for the bundles to allow for the student to access the online platforms, even with telecom, and the internet part. I think it is still, yes, it is still a
So you are
challenge.
talking in terms of Kenya, right? But then let's look at it globally. No, I think the government of Kenya is doing well, and maybe some of the institutions in Kenya by providing all these means of internet. But let's look at the situation in other countries. Maybe not the government are not doing the same, right? So do you think this virtual mode of learning is going to really work? Is it going to work?
I think so. The only challenge comes with these practical courses like engineering or medical student. They have to to come physically. So there are virtual labs that can be done, of course, especially with the engineering, but some conditions need to be there physically. So it might not work for everyone. Specifically, those technical courses will require some physical presence of the student.
Okay. And then we've talked about the virtual mode of learning. And now let's take the situation in Kenya. During the pandemic, I think students stayed home for more than 6 months, right? Waiting for the resumption before the arrangement for virtual mode of learning. International students, we all know that we stay here on visa mode, right? You need to get a visa to stay here, and it has expiry dates. What are the challenges international students are facing with these visa issues?
Okay. Visa issue. Visa has always, the student pass. Let me just call it.
Student pass,
I'm
yeah.
more comfortable calling it student pass.
Okay.
Student pass has always been a challenge, especially to do with processing it. But universities like Nairobi, they are trying. But at the end of the day, it's a government process. The university do not have much control over it. So the time it takes, it's because the government is the one that is controlling it. But of course, the good thing is that there is always a notification, so that if your pass is not ready, you have a notification, that you can use, showing that it's in process. So students that until then, until the coronavirus period, whereby even the government offices, are also slow because the working shifts.
Okay.
So you find the process has lengthened. It has been really a big challenge, but yes. Like I said, Kenyan system is a bit fair. You don't get so harassed by not having a visa. It's actually a requirement.
It's a requirement,
It's a requirement, but schools like University of Nairobi works. We have our own security that works also with the outside security, so that you find if Elizabeth's visa extension maybe is taking time, and maybe of which maybe I get into contact with the with the authority. The school contacts this is our student and this, and explain
Okay.
the situation. Yes.
So, John, has there been any way, like student now, let's say I have a student pass, which maybe I applied last year, they gave me 1 year. Then I stayed home. Let's say I applied from January to December, right? Knowing that I will graduate in December. Then from January to June, July, I'm still at home. You get it? 6 months is wasted. Then I need another 6 months to complete. And then they gave me 1 year. Has the government communicated about their provision, how they are going to cover up the 6 months that was wasted?
I think in such a cases, they normally give some extension, but during the pandemic, there was so much. Almost the government institution was slow down their work services with the pandemic. But in such a cases, they used to apply online for extension, and their visa used to be extended by some time, 3 months or 2 month time, as they are wait maybe to apply for a new pass.
Okay. Now, international students are just victims by chance. Before even coronavirus, there were a lot of challenges, I believe, because we hear issues of strike and all that. How does that also affect international students?
Strike is actually one of, like you said, one of the very big challenges that are affecting the international students. Well, for instance, if you are here in Kenya to study a course for 4 years, strike comes. For instance, strike comes and take a whole year. It's destroy a whole year, and maybe you planned for just 4 years. So one of the things it does is it lengthens the period of study for students, which is will become a bit expensive, because even if it's just not school fees that you'll have to pay for extra year, but your accommodation, cost of living. So strike makes it really worse for students.
Okay, so now we've seen some of the challenges international students are going through, and it's becoming worse, like as time goes on. What do you think is the future of international students? Do you think Kenya is going, or other countries are going to receive more international students, or there's going to be a halt? Are people going to still travel for education, or we are just going to stay in their home countries and study?
I think in spite of the challenges that has been happening, like the strike, we lost some. Okay, the student had to change the university because the strike normally happen in public institutions most of the time. So that time, my colleagues with whom I joined the university, they had to change and go
They go to other
schools or universities. But talking of the international student, the number is still increasing. It is still increasing.
Really?
Even if there are challenges, but I've not seen. In fact, the number is grooming.
So
compared to
are
the
they going
previous
to report back to the other countries they are studying, or they are doing the online mode? Are they going to stay at home or in their home country to study, or they are moving into Kenya right now as we are speaking?
Right now, the number is not as, because we've just reported, like we've just come from that state. We've not seen such a big number coming as it used to come before the pandemic, and probably some may change their mind of not traveling to Kenya, or stay home and study locally instead of going back to.
So we are looking at the future, right? Let's say now looking at what is happening and all that. Do you think in 10 years to come, we still have international students, something like that existing, apart from the online way? Maybe right now, when you want to apply for scholarships and all those things, you find they tell you that it is online, virtual mode of learning, virtual mode. It is increasing day to day. Do you think that is going to be the trend, or things are going to change and we will come back to normal? Elizabeth, what do you think?
I think just like any other country, it's just a pandemic for the whole globally.
Yeah.
So I do not think we should take it at a personal level with Kenyan, because you have been affected and you are here in Kenya. Now you get a time or a chance to go home. Now you do not want to come back because of the pandemic, unless it was a pandemic that only happened in Kenya.
So we are talking about globally. Do you think people are still going to travel for education, or they are going to stay in their home country and just study online?
Well, if online online learning is effective, then I do not think there is a reason for you to leave home. You can comfortably study at home, at the comfort of your home. I do not think you would need to travel. So if the online learning is effective, then I think it's a common sense that you will just stay home and learn from there.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh, people love to explore,
Yes.
travel and meet new people and all that. So these are going to be the challenges that will be in the future of international students. Okay. John, what do you think?
If online is effective, as you just stated, there will not be too much need of traveling, and the number will be compromised, like not the same way. But if I'm talking of the cost of study, when you pay a full school fee and you stay at home, you learn online, I don't think it should be the same as someone who is going to physically sit.
Yeah, so you think when we are going to focus on the virtual mode of learning, then school fees should be reduced for those doing online study, because I'm sure if you're in your home country, you're going to provide your gadgets, your internet and all that. So school fees should reduce for international students, right?
That's the point.
Okay, all right. I think it's a good idea. And as international student, how are you going to channel that? How are we going to advocate for that?
I do not think there is even a reason for us to maybe have to push the university. It's a common sense. I do not have to pay for computer lab, and I'm not going to computer in the university.
Yeah.
So such a fee is automatically supposed to be reduced. I do not have to pay for a hostel if I'm not staying there. So I would just say it will be even a duty, the duty of the universities, of the institutions, to automatically reduce the school fees,
Okay.
of which
Yeah, they are going
will.
to do it
They will.
definitely.
They will.
And it's not only now, they are also going to run at a loss in some way or the other. And I don't think it's going to, this thing is a global thing that can affect, because the moment they reduce the school fees, lecturers are also at home teaching you, and their salaries are going to be reduced, and it goes on and on and on. So today I think we have educated ourselves, we have elaborated on things that we are looking forward to seeing as international students. So what else? I think we are good, and at least we have a fair idea about the future. John, your last words?
I want to thank my fellow international students of Kenyatta University, wherever they are. I thank you, Emmanuel, for this opportunity you've offered to us to come and discuss about the future of international students. And I thank the man behind the camera, who is Mr. Steven, and Douglas. Thank you so much. And I'm very happy actually to be here today. Thank you so much.
Okay. Elizabeth, your last words?
Okay. I would say to those students, foreign students that are yet to come to Kenya, you should try, give it a try. Kenya is a very beautiful place. It's diverse. It has all the things you need. Challenges are part of it, whether in Kenya or you are in a different country. Whichever country, you have to be faced by few here and there challenges. My final words would be encouraging students that are yet to come to Kenya from various countries from all over the world. Kenya is so beautiful. Get curious and come study here, and you will love it. The experience is good. Do not get scared of the challenges, because they are part of life. They are part of study, so you will experience them anywhere else. And to the great University of Nairobi, thank you for always hosting us. It's actually a privilege for me to be part of you, and a very honor to be part of the leadership. And I'm here to serve, and I will always be a comrade there. And for comrades that just voted, thank you. And comrades Ria, thank you, and good day.
All right, comrades, Ria. All right, so thank you for tuning in and joining us today on the Drivers of Change show. We are so grateful and wishing you a happy new year. Once again, my name is Emmanuel Chum Entry. You can follow me on all social media platforms. On Facebook is Entry Emmanuel. On Twitter is at Chum Entry. On Instagram, Entry294. Let's keep in touch. You can hit me up in the comment section or on any social media platform. Thank you and see you again.